Hello, Elevate 7-8. This is your daily video devotional for Saturday, March 28th, covering Exodus chapter 31. For tomorrow, read ahead to Exodus chapter 32. In chapter 31, we're introduced to two characters, Bezalel and Oholiab. And here's who Bezalel was. In verse 3, God says, I have filled him with the Spirit of God, with wisdom, with understanding, with knowledge, and with all kinds of skills. So Bezalel was an artisan. He was good at working with gold, with silver, with bronze, with wood, with stone. And God gave him all of these abilities. And now he was giving him the special job of doing the handcrafted work for all the special and beautiful items that were going to be in the tabernacle. And to help him, he gave him a guy named Oholiab. And he also gave him the ability and all the skilled workers the ability to make everything I have commanded you. The tent, the ark, all the other furnishings of the tent, and so on. So the point is this: God gives people the ability to do the work that God commands them to do. Let me say that again. God gives people the ability to do the work that God has commanded them to do. So even the things that God has commanded you to do, to love one another, you don't have that ability in yourself, but God gives you that ability. And when we get to the New Testament, it calls these things spiritual gifts. And I want to read a verse from the book of Colossians that talks about the way that we work. It says in Colossians 3:23, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for human bosses. I said in the devotional yesterday, Christians are different. And one of the ways that we are different is in the way that we work. It is for God. Now, I know that during this downtime, time is going really slow. But what if this time that we have away from regular activities ends up being a really important time in your life because of the work that you do, whether it's school work or time in the Bible, that shapes who you become? Just something to think about. And then also in chapter 31, he talks about the importance of the Sabbath. The Sabbath was the seventh day of the week, and it was meant to be a day of rest. It's a break. Remember yesterday, Psalm 85, I quoted, it said, God promises peace to his people, but let them not turn to folly or wasted time. So God gives us a day of rest, but we're not just supposed to waste the time. We're really supposed to restore ourselves for the work that God has laid out for us. And what does it mean that in this chapter, God says anybody who violates the Sabbath, let him be cut off from his people? It means that God takes the Sabbath really, really seriously. Let me read from verse 17. It says, the Sabbath will be a sign between me and the Israelites forever. For in 6 days I, the Lord, made the heavens and the earth, and on the seventh day I rested and was refreshed. So as Christians, we seek to mimic God. You want your life to work? Mimic God and do what God did, including on the seventh day, the Sabbath. You rest. Christians observe tomorrow, Sunday, as the Sabbath. So take some time to rest tomorrow and read through Exodus 32. It's a really important chapter in the history of God and his people Israel. And we'll unpack that tomorrow. Take care.